Hello guys, in today's video, we're going to check out the performance of my PC. We'll run some benchmarks and see how it performs thermally. Also, we're gonna see how it performs while gaming. I am excited to know more about the PC I have built, and I wanna share it with you guys. First, my PC specs and setup. I am running an i7 12700F CPU on an Asus Z690A gaming Wi-Fi DDR4 motherboard with an MSI Supreme-X RTX 3080 10GB. The CPU is being cooled by the EK Elite AIO 280mm DRGB in a push-pull configuration. It has 1TB of Gen 4 NVMe PCIe SSD and 32GB of Corsair Dominator RAMs at 3200 MHz. All of these enclosed on a beautiful Hyte Y60 case. I'm currently using my PC with a TV display with a native resolution of 1920 by 1080. So I guess my GPU benchmarks will be limited to 1080p resolution for the time being. So now let's go to the benchmarking. I'm gonna be using this monitoring software called CPU ID HW Monitor. It's a utility software which shows how hardware is performing at real time. You can basically see your fans, their fan speed, the CPU voltages, the temperature, the CPU usage. Scrolling down, you're gonna see the RAM, the SSD, the GPU voltages, temperature, the GPU usage as well. First benchmark we're gonna test is in the IDA64 Extreme software. Actually, this is just the trial version of the program. Under the benchmark menu, we may choose specific benchmarks to run. But we're not gonna do that. Let's go to the Tools menu, to the top part, and run the System Stability Test. Clicking on the CPU ID button on the bottom of the window, we can see that the software recognized correctly the CPU is running in the PC. We're gonna start the benchmark here, and as we can see, the CPU usage just went up to 100%. It's basically stressing out and putting the CPU under load, which will result to higher temperatures on the CPU itself. But then we can see how the CPU performs thermally under load. So on this graph, the CPU temperature is the white colored one, while the GPU temperature is the red one. So maybe we're gonna run this test longer to see how high the temperature can be in this setup. So now, 5 minutes have passed, almost 6 minutes. The CPU temperature is at 57 degrees Celsius and the GPU temperature is 63 degrees. The ambient temperature of the room is about 26 degrees. I guess those numbers are good in my opinion, but maybe let's run the test longer, see if it still changes. Now it's been running for about 30 minutes and the temperature didn't change much, if not at all. The GPU remained at an average of 63 degrees and the CPU is at 57 degrees. So maybe for this test, the CPU and the EK-AIO combo is doing a great job at handling those temperatures, because those are good temperatures in my opinion. The next benchmark we're gonna run is the Unigine Heaven benchmark. This is a benchmark which will test the performance of the GPU in this system. So here I am setting up the benchmark. I have set it at DirectX 11, Ultra Quality and Extreme Tessellation. Went through the settings again and ran it on full screen this time and made sure to run it at 1920 by 1080 resolution to suit my system display. After hitting apply, I'm gonna close this now. Up here we can still change some other settings if you want. So let's run the benchmark. So the Unigine Heaven benchmark is a set of scenes that will run at the settings that you have set. At the upper right corner, you're gonna see how the GPU is performing, the number of frames per second the GPU can handle, the clock speed and the memory clock, as well as the temperature. Lower right, you can see data regarding the number of frames the GPU outputs throughout the test, including the maximum and minimum FPS. I'm gonna show you some scenes which I think are hard to render. As you can see there was kind of a stutter on that scene. There are also darker scenes to keep the GPU at its toes. But as you can see right about here, yep, there was another stutter. These stutters are important to note as these affect your FPS, your total frames output, and ultimately your benchmark scores. Now you may say the Heaven benchmark is quite an older benchmark, but having an RTX 3080 and for it to stutter at 1080p says a lot about this benchmark and about my system. So that's good to know. The next benchmark is the Cinebench R23. We are running the multi-core test and monitor the CPU usage and temperature with the HW Info 64 and the HW monitor. Both monitoring software showed 76 to 77 degrees in the CPU package. Let's just fast forward the process. We can see the CPU score in multi-core test. The CPU reached a maximum temperature of 82 degrees Celsius in HW monitor and 81 degrees Celsius in the HW. So fairly accurate results. Temperatures seem okay in my opinion. The next benchmark is Furmark. I'm gonna run the test full screen at 1920 by 1080 resolution. I opened my monitoring softwares to take a look at how the GPU will fare in this test in terms of temperature. This is basically a looping graphical test which will place the GPU under stress. Fast forwarding this test running for about 10 minutes, we can see that the GPU reached a maximum temperature of 70 degrees Celsius. Furmark actually has options to run at 1440p and 4K resolution. I tried running Furmark in those settings, however I considered the results invalid since my display was just 1080p and the benchmark returned almost the same values after 10 minutes in each resolution. Finally, I ran 3D Mark. This was the longest stress test and benchmark to perform. I ran the Speedway and Port Royal stress test and benchmarks, and these were the results. I don't know much about these scores, however I noticed both my scores in the Speedway and Port Royal benchmarks were lower than average. Is it because I was running the GPU on its stock configurations? I just ran everything on stock and never considered overclocking yet. Or is there something wrong with my setup? What do you guys think? Overall, I think my PC ran very well, but I guess there is still room for improvement. I'm considering overclocking if that would help. Temperature-wise, the PC seems to run at an optimal range. The CPU and the GPU did not experience thermal throttling. With that, I am happy with my system. If there is something I can improve on, sound off in the comments down below so that I can learn more. Also, I'm not an expert on these things. I'm just interested to know these things. So maybe if I made a mistake in the process of benchmarking my PC, I would appreciate it if you correct me and tell me how to properly benchmark a PC. So, I hope you found value in this video. If you did, kindly smash that like button and subscribe while you're at it. Stay tuned for the next video wherein I'm gonna benchmark the PC while gaming. This has been JGeeks out. See you in the next video.